Hello everybody. So today I'm going to be making a video about the spiritual background on the oppression of God's daughters, and also how to date and vet with discernment. As young women, we have a habit of giving our hearts and our bodies away without actually using our head first. We end up feeling hurt or traumatized or abused because of the way that a man chose to treat us. But what if I told you that it was a really much deeper meaning behind it? What if I told you that sometimes the reason why they treat you this way is simply because they're being used by the devil? What if I told you that the devil was using the same people who were meant to protect us to oppress us? And that unfortunately, the thing that you are taught to desire out of life has been perverted, and that it's now being used to delay, distract, and destroy God's daughters. Now, in no part of this video am I encouraging you to operate out of hate or for you to completely just close the door on the idea of love being a possibility for you. What I do want for us young women to know is that despite love being a beautiful and wonderful thing, the devil is also equally able to pervert it. Everyone who comes your way does not have the best intentions for you. It's the unfortunate truth. Sometimes we have to be more aware and more cautious and more discerning when it comes to who we allow into our lives, but definitely who we allow ourselves to choose to spend the rest of our lives with. 1 Peter 5:8 says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour." Be discerning and be aware. 2 Corinthians 11:14 says, "In no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light." Now, in my own personal experience, as well as something that I see commonly in other people in their relationships, a lot of the times the reason in the way that people end up in terrible situations is because they end up getting charmed. They end up being manipulated. Like 1 Peter 5:8 says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." Like, they come in the door with a promise. They come in the door offering something. They come in the door spending money. They come in the door looking perfect. They come in the door looking like exactly what you wanted. They come in the door looking and sounding like exactly what you need. And it all comes at a price. They end up stealing something from you. And you won't even realize that they stole it from you until sometimes it's too late. They enter into the door with charm. They lead with charm. They lead with a promise. They lead with something that you want so badly. No person with bad intentions is going to come up looking like they are about to lead you and influence you into bad decisions, into a bad life. They never look like the things that you think that you're about to experience. They come in masked as something that you wouldn't even put the two and two together. They look like everything that you want. They sound like everything that you want. They're providing everything that you want. But it all comes with a price. Sometimes the price is not money. Sometimes that price is your self-esteem. Sometimes that price is the brain damage that happens to you after being with that man. Sometimes the price is homelessness, your family discarding you. Sometimes it's your freedom. John 10:10 says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." They know to dress themselves up and to, make it look like they have the nice car and the nice lifestyle and the flashing the money and, like, they know what to do to get you. Sometimes what they're offering you is stability. Sometimes what they're offering you is protection. Sometimes what they're offering you is the illusion of a family. It comes in so many different forms. Sometimes it's exactly what you want when you want it, right then and there. I'm coming to serve you everything that you want on a platter, and then I'm going to take the wings that you have to fly. You'll end up realizing, like, okay, I got the money, I got the fame, I got the looks, I got the nice house, but I'm unhappy. He took my self-esteem. He took my innocence. I'm not pure anymore. I don't respect myself anymore. He took something that money can't even buy. He took something, I lost myself. And it's sad that it can happen like that, but that's the way that it happens usually. And it's still happening. So I just feel like somebody has to say something. I personally have went through a lot of these things. I had to do with the money, but he did not respect me. I had to do with the car, and I lost my innocence. I had to do it with, I went through different things, and I lost something that I struggled to get back. And in some cases, I could never get it back. I lost time. Time was wasted because he was sent to distract me. Ask God before you enter into a relationship with that man, and really ask God before you enter into a covenant with that man. Now, charm I only led with charm because charm is the lead way. It's usually the entryway of manipulation. Charm is usually the way how they get in the door. Charm is usually the way of how they get what they want out of you. But don't get it wrong. Charm is also a form of manipulation. It's just the lead way. It's the entry. Now, what is manipulation? Manipulation is the act of controlling, influencing, or managing people, situations, or data in a clever, unfair, or underhanded manner to suit one's own purposes. Side effects: emotional, mental, and psychological damage. I have 14 very well-known terms that can break down some things that may have been done to you or you may experience in the future. When you notice that these things are being done to you, or these tactics, I don't need you to sit there and coddle that man. I don't need you to sit there and baby that man. I don't need you to play a pity party. I don't need you to hold his hand because you feel sorry for him. Pray for him and get away. And when I say get away, I also mean stay away. Anyone with good intentions would not have to manipulate you. Anyone with good intentions would not have to deceive you. Anyone with good intentions would not have to lie to you. By them opening up the door with deception towards you, that relationship is already built not to last. It's not a firm foundation, and it's not rooted in God. But anyways, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so these very popular terms are gaslighting, love bombing, breadcrumbing, future faking, inconsistency, weaponized incompetence, ghosting, masking, manipulation, trauma dumping, coercion, silent treatment, triangulation, and projection. Okay, so with every single one of these tactics, I'm going to give you a Google definition of what this means, and then I'm going to give you an example that I have experienced and an example that I didn't experience, but it might better explain what it means so that you aren't confused on what it is that you're identifying when you're face to face with it. All right? Gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of persistent psychological manipulation where a perpetrator causes a victim to doubt their own memory, perception of reality, or sanity. It is a control tactic used to create confusion, loss of confidence, and dependency in relationships. Common examples include outright denial of events, trivializing feelings, encountering email. Anyways, a lot of the times I would be gaslit in small ways at first. And then as the time would go on, I would completely start to question myself in everything that I do. So I would say that something happened that clearly happened, and I would completely be denied. And my statement would completely be rejected. Or it would be completely twisted into something totally different. I would start to question if I was crazy. I would start to question if I was wrong. I would start to question if I was the problem and if I was making it all up in my head. I would start to question if the decisions that I was making was the right decisions. You wasn't crazy before you met that man. You wasn't delusional before you met that man. Everything seemed to be clicking long before him. And suddenly, now that he's faced with the truth of something, he doesn't remember anything. That didn't happen. So you telling me that you just slapped me, and I still feel the sting on the side of my face, and you telling me that you didn't slap me? What is love bombing? Now, love bombing goes hand in hand with charm. Okay? So, the reason why I say this is because charm is not as grandiose. But love bombing, it is. Love bombing is so big, and it's such a big grand gesture to the point where you're like, wait, what? It's usually like, you come in, and you know how people come, like, they're like, and my knight in shining armor comes zooming in to save the day. It's like that. It's like, it's so much, and it's so soon, and you get overconsumed with them. You can't even think. You don't have the time to think. You know, they're taking up so much space, and the only other step that you have to make is them. That's the only other step. What are we about to do? I've been love bombed so much to the point where it got to the point where I realized I don't know how to move slow. I don't know how to move slow, because every person that I was with, they would just come in rushing in, just trying to. No one with good intentions is trying to rush you. No one who truly cares for you will put pressure on you. No one who really is thoughtful like that, they don't bribe you. They don't bribe you with excessive gifts and grandiose gestures when you just met. They don't do stuff like that. That's too much. Because now I feel the pressure to say yes. Now I feel the pressure to not look like a bad person because you've done so much for me so quickly, and I feel so honored that you chose me. No, absolutely not. No. Can I get to know you first? But let me get into what love bombing's definition is. Sorry. Love bombing is a manipulative tactic used in the early stages of a relationship. Oh, I hope. In the early stages of a relationship where one person overwhelms another with excessive attention, affection, gifts, and compliments to gain trust and create intense emotional dependence. It is a form of emotional abuse designed to secure control, often followed by devaluation or controlling behavior once the victim is emotionally invested. Once love bombing stops, they start abusing you. And it might not be physically, it might be emotionally, it might be verbally, it might be psychologically, but they are abusing you. And you might not realize it because it might not look like abuse, but it is abuse, because you will never understand what's going on. You will never understand why the person who you met, the person who they claimed to be in the beginning, you can never get that person back. You're wondering, what happened to the one that I fell in love with? That was never them. And that's the hard truth. That was never who they were. What is breadcrumbing? Breadcrumbing is a manipulative dating tactic where someone leads another person on with small, intermittent crumbs of communication, like small texts, social media likes, or funny memes, without any intention of committing to a real relationship. It keeps the recipient hooked, hopeful, and emotionally invested, while the breadcrumber maintains control and avoids commitment. Now, this definition doesn't really necessarily align with what I went through. My personal experience of breadcrumbing would be a little bit different. I would set a standard for myself, and I would say that I wanted something specific. And they would give that specific thing, and that would be it. Here you go. Here's just enough for you to shut up. And after that, I would never receive it again. Ever again. I'm going to do just enough to keep you around. Not enough to keep you happy, but enough to keep you hopeful. Breadcrumbing is very manipulative and it's extremely calculated. When someone breadcrumbs, you just know that they're smart enough to know what they're doing. That is extremely intentional. All of this stuff is extremely intentional. But breadcrumbing, once they breadcrumb you, just know that they knew what to do this whole entire time. They know what to do to keep you. They know what to do to keep you happy. They're just choosing not to do it. They're doing just enough to keep you around. But they also don't want to give you what you want. And if they do give you what you want, they'll give you what you want as soon as you're willing to walk away. But it won't last because it's breadcrumbs. It's not the full loaf. It's not what you need to sustain, to be happy, to be at ease. So yeah. What is future faking? Future faking is a manipulative tactic where someone makes false promises about a shared future, such as marriage, vacations, or moving in together to gain trust, compliance, or affection in the present. It is a form of emotional manipulation, often used by narcissists to keep a partner invested, despite having no intention of following through. You just met this man. He talking about taking you to the Bahamas. Now he done got in your drawers. Did you ever see the Bahamas though? Yeah. No. He knew what he was doing. That's future faking. That's what future faking is. Please use your discernment with these men because they tricky. They tricky and they lie and they tell you any old thing. What is inconsistency? Inconsistency is very basic, so you should know the basic definition of this. But if you don't, I will give you the definition because I love you. Inconsistency in a relationship, often termed hot and cold behavior, occurs when a partner's actions, emotions, or commitment levels fluctuate, wildly causing confusion, anxiety, and distress. My personal experience with inconsistency is like we was just ping-ponging in the messages. Now, all of a sudden, you not texting back, or show up one day and then the next day you're gone. Like, it's just like you can't even show up. You can't even be reliable. I can't even trust you to be there when I need you because you so unsure. If someone is inconsistent in their actions, in the way that they move, just know that they're unsure about you. And that's okay for you to not know what you want. We're young, understandable. But I know what I want. And I don't think that you're doing me any good by being in my life to waste my time. So, gotta go. What is weaponized incompetence? Ooh! Weaponized incompetence, also known as strategic or willful incompetence, is a manipulation tactic where an individual feigns or exaggerates their inability to perform a task to avoid responsibility and shift the burden onto someone else. These men know what they're doing. They were smart enough to manipulate you. They were smart enough to get you to put that car in your name. They were smart enough to get you to ruin your credit for him. He was smart enough for you to lay down on that labor bed and have his baby for him, knowing that he has no money, no future, no hope for himself. He was smart enough to convince you to put your life at risk and put those drugs in your purse. Because if you go to jail, you have a higher chance of getting out. And he'll look out for you and he got your back. These men ain't dumb. These men are not dumb. Where this started is the mothers for a lot of these men. These mothers fail to hold their sons equally as accountable as they did their daughters, unfortunately. And so now they use those same exact tactics on the people that they plan to spend the rest of their life with. So that he knows how to cook. But why would he cook when he knows that you don't think he knows how? He knows how to clean up. But why would he do that when obviously you think that every man doesn't know how to clean up? He knows how to do those simple tasks. But why would he take responsibility for them when he feels that you don't think that he's even smart enough to do those things? These men are not done. What is ghosting? Ghosting is the act of suddenly ending all communication and contact with the person, usually a romantic partner or potential date, without explanation or warning, often leaving them to feel confused and ignored. Someone like that is a coward because they aren't even able or willing enough to express what truly happened. We went from speaking every day to now we're not speaking at all. What happened? Just know that this is done intentionally. And even if it isn't done intentionally, just know that that man is a coward. And you don't want no coward to be the father of your children one day. You don't want a coward to be the one leading your household. Let it go. Let it die. He wanted to be dead. Let him stay dead. Respectfully. What is masking? Masking is the discrepancy between an individual's underlying authentic self and the outward socially accepted behavior. Okay, so masking, when you look up masking, it's going to probably lead you straight into things that have to do with neurodivergent and things like that. I want you to know that masking is also something that NPDs do. NPDs are people with narcissistic personality disorder. Masking is something that people with narcissistic personality traits, people with narcissistic traits do. They come in, they look beautiful. They come in, they serving it all on a silver platter. They are hiding everything and everything that they do. They hiding it. Once again, it's a mask. It's all fake. It's performative. It's all to get you lured in and under their spell and for you to trust them and to let your guard down with them. And sometimes it's for them to make you feel seen and safe. In my personal experience, they would use my own personality against me. So they would mimic me. And I would fall in love with myself through the lens of another person. Oh, Jesus. So everything that I went through, they would go through too. Everything that I didn't like, they would hate. Everything that I couldn't stand, they would have trouble with. Everything that I was struggling with, they would struggle with. Everything that was me was them. And they was just displaying it all back to me. And that was never them. Trauma dumping. What is trauma dumping? Trauma dumping refers to sharing one's traumatic past experiences all at once without considering how it might impact the listener or if the timing is appropriate. Trauma dumping happens very early on when a person that is interested in dating you wants you to sympathize with them and feel sorry for them. A lot of times this is used to use your own emotions against you. So you end up being manipulated into being sure not to do something or being sure to do something. But it's all because of something that they went through in their past. So let's say a dude, y'all just started talking. He's like, yeah, my last breakup, she cheated on me. So, you know, I'm having problems with trust. Red flag. Why are you even trying to date me if you don't trust nobody? But, you know, I have issues with trust. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure I don't cheat on you. I'm going to make sure I'm never talking to no dudes, this, that, and the third, da. But even in the midst of that, he's using that thing that he told you that he went through is an excuse for him to treat you the way that he wants to. Let me give you another example. You're dating a dude, and he's like, yeah, my last girlfriend, she used me. She used me for my money, and I just can't do that again. So what does your mind think? Oh, she's just a gold digger. Oh, she's just using him for his money. Okay, well, I'm nothing like her. So now, despite you having needs, despite you going through things in life, despite you needing support, you can't ask him for no money. Because he done trauma dumped on you, and now you don't feel comfortable with asking him for anything because you don't want him to look at you like that. He done already trained you to not ask him for nothing. And do not get me wrong, venting is okay. Trauma dumping is a manipulative tactic. And I don't care what no one says. Okay, I don't even need the Google definition of silent treatment. Silent treatment is another form of basically punishing you. Every time that you stand up for yourself, every time that you set a standard for yourself, all of a sudden he stops talking to you. It's like ghosting, except it's only the result of you doing something. Every time that you take pictures and you post them, he goes 3 days without talking to you. Every time that you go and hang out with your friends, he goes 3 days without talking to you. Stuff like that. If someone's doing that to you, that's extremely manipulative. Let him go. Cut him loose. Because I'm going to live my life. Every time that you don't show up for him, he gives you the silent treatment. I can't be everything all the time. There's going to be times when I fail to show up. I'm human, just like you. That's why we got our Lord and Savior. He ain't going to never not show up. So pray. You know, but no. All of that pressure is put on you. And whenever you fail, or whenever you make a mistake, he don't have nothing to say to you no more. It's almost like you're discarded. And that ain't no fun. It's not fun at all. And if he feels fine with playing with your emotions like that, then that's definitely not the man for you. What is triangulation? Triangulation manipulation is a toxic tactic where a person brings a third party into a conflict or relationship to create confusion, jealousy, or instability. Used often by individuals with narcissistic tendencies, it often involves controlling communication through whisper networks or forcing competition for attention. You shouldn't be in competition with his girl best friend. It shouldn't be you against her. You shouldn't be in competition with his homies. You shouldn't be in competition with no female friend. You shouldn't be in competition with nobody important in his life. You shouldn't be in competition with his baby mama. You shouldn't be in competition with no one. It even goes as far as sisters and mothers, because they can be used to be, you know, usually this gets started when every time you and him get into it, he runs and goes to his mom's house. And she goes and cooks him up a pie. And he pours out his heart to her and tells her that she's so horrible and she does this and she does that, this, that, and the third. And now y'all are both fighting over this man's attention. And he's disloyal to both of you while benefiting off of the both of you. A lot of the times when you see these videos of these young girls fighting and arguing over a man, it's because he's playing both sides. He's with her during the day and he's with her at night. Her during the week and her on the weekends. You know, there's no real reason for there to be a feud if there's nothing fueling it. There's no fire if there's no fuel for it. What's the common denominator, and where does it start? What started this? What's the root? Don't let that man use his sister, his best friend, his cousins, his homies, his brothers. Don't let him use no one against you. If it's them against you, he's the middleman. Get up out of there, because that's messy. And why would he even stir up mess with someone he loves and cares about? Stuff like that can lead to people dying and going to jail. It's that serious and it's that deep. He can't care about you if he started mess like that. What is projection? Projection is a defense mechanism where individuals unsubconsciously attribute their own unacceptable thoughts, feelings, or traits onto another person to avoid confronting them internally. This looks like a man that's consistently cheating on you, accusing you of cheating on him. This looks like a man who is abusive towards you and manipulating you, constantly saying that you're manipulative and that you're crazy. This looks like a man who is using you, constantly saying that you're using him. It's them speaking out their own truth and letting out their own accusations of who they think you are, while also telling on themselves. They end up unsubconsciously telling on themselves, because that's exactly what they're doing. I have experienced this, and it's like, why are you accusing me of cheating when I'm not cheating on you? Where's this coming from? You're cheating on me. That's what it was, you know? It just makes sense, because if 1 + 1 = 2, and 2 + 2 = 4, what's really going on? It'll all reveal itself in due time, though, okay? And then I have the one that is going to probably make me mad, okay? Stay tuned for this last one. What is coercion? Coercion is the act of forcing or pressuring someone to do something against their will through threats, intimidation, or physical force. It is a form of power used to replace a person's free will with another's desired actions, often involving fear, emotional abuse, or threats of harm. Someone pressuring you into doing anything that you do not want to do. Get up out of there. You are not safe, and they do not care about your safety. This goes for things like smoking, drinking, trying other drugs, sexual activity, or anything else that you are not ready or willing to do. When you say no, that no means no. Please, this is another thing. Please do not put yourself in compromising positions to where you no longer have the power or the ability to say no. Your no means no. But when someone has you in a unsafe environment, around unsafe people, with no one to back you up, with no one to protect you, and with no one to keep you safe, there is no telling what those people can, will do to you. There is no telling. When he touches your thigh and you say, please don't touch me like that, and suddenly you have to figure out a new way for you to get home despite him picking you up. So now you feel like, well, I guess he has to touch my thigh. When you feel that your only way of staying alive is for you to give in, that's coercion, baby. When he threatens you with a gun because you said no, that's coercion. When he starts getting aggressive with you because you said you weren't ready, that's coercion. Everybody in the room starts putting pressure on you to drink. That's coercion. When he tries to get you high on the first link intentionally so he can have his way with you, that's coercion. It might not look like it at first. It might not seem like it at first. But please be safe. Please be smart. And please stay protected. I made this video because nobody told me. I had to go out into the world and I had to learn these things on my own. I had to see these things on my own. I had to experience my friends go through these things. I had to see these things with my own two eyes and identify them. This is not things that I just came up with randomly. These are things that I didn't even know what I was experiencing for a very long time. And I definitely didn't know how to defend. I wouldn't even acknowledge it at first. I thought these things were normal. And that's just the way that it was supposed to be. I thought that these things were A-okay. And that this is the way that I was supposed to be treated. I thank God for these experiences because they led me into becoming smarter. They led me into becoming safer. They led me becoming a teacher. They led me into becoming a woman of God, still learning, still figuring out her way. But they led me to become who I am today. So I thank God for those experiences. I thank God that he got me through the dark. Despite me ever being in the dark, I got through it. I thank him. But for you, I need for you to use your discernment. I need for you to take notes of this video. I need for you to be smart around your surroundings and who you let into your life, into your body, and into your heart. Because unfortunately, some women don't experience the things that I've experienced and come out alive. Unfortunately, some women don't go through the things that I went through and come out mentally stable. Some people never find God. Some people never trust God again. Some people completely lose who they are and forget who they are. Some people completely turn into a totally different person. And I don't want that for nobody else. I don't. I really don't. I really want for you to use discernment with these men. God don't want you to be a fool for nobody. Nobody. Matthew 10:16 says, I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves. Proverbs 27:12 says, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. For everything that you allow, for everything that you ignore, for everything that you just shrug over your shoulder, there's a price to pay for it. You fail yourself when you fail to protect yourself. Use this video to help you learn how to better protect and select. Use this video to discern what it is that you're experiencing. Don't use this video as a way to go out and manipulate people. Don't use this video as a reason for you to go out and hurt people and damage people just because. Because this video in no way, shape, or form is about that. That is not the message of this video at all. Ephesians 6:11 says, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. We do not battle against flesh and blood. There's a spiritual war going on. It's good for you to protect yourself. It really is. And it's extremely important to know what you're dealing with when you're face to face with it. So take this video, listen. If you want a better understanding, open your Bible and pray about it. I love you, but God loves you more. Bye.